الله عدد أمواج البحور، لا إله إلا الله عدد أضعاف الأجور، لا إله إلا الله عدد قطر المطر، لا إله إلا الله عدد أوراق الشجر، لا إله إلا الله عدد الرمل والحجر، لا إله إلا الله عدد الزهر والثمر، لا إله إلا الله عدد الشعر والوبر، لا إله إلا الله عدد أنفاس البشر، لا إله إلا الله عدد ذنوبنا حتى تغفر، لا إله إلا الله عدد لمح العيون، لا إله إلا الله عدد ما كان وما يكون، لا إله إلا الله تعالى عما يشركون، لا إله إلا الله خير مما يجمعون، لا إله إلا الله في الليل إذا عسعس، لا إله إلا الله في الصبح إذا تنفس، لا إله إلا الله عدد الرياح في البرار والصخور، لا إله إلا الله من يومنا هذا إلى يوم النفخ في الصور. لا إله إلا الله عدد الليالي والدهور، لا إله إلا الله عدد الأيام والشهور، لا إله إلا الله عدد أمواج البحور، لا إله إلا الله عدد أضعاف الأجور، لا إله إلا الله عدد قطر المطر، لا إله إلا الله عدد أوراق الشجر، لا إله إلا الله عدد الرمل والحجر، لا إله إلا الله عدد الزهر والثمر، لا إله إلا الله عدد الشعر والوبر، لا إله إلا الله عدد أنفاس البشر، لا إله إلا الله عدد ذنوبنا حتى تغفر، لا إله إلا الله عدد لمح العيون، لا إله إلا الله عدد ما كان وما يكون، لا إله إلا الله تعالى عما يشركون، لا إله إلا الله خير مما يجمعون، لا إله إلا الله في الليل إذا عسعس، لا إله إلا الله في الصبح إذا تنفس، لا إله إلا الله عدد الرياح في البرار والصخور، لا إله إلا الله من يومنا هذا إلى يوم النفخ في الصور، لا إله إلا الله عدد خلقه أجمعين، لا إله إلا الله من يومنا هذا إلى يوم الدين، لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو حي لا يموت بيده وهو على كل شيء قدير، لا إله إلا الله عدد الليالي والدهور، لا إله إلا الله عدد الأيام والشهور، لا إله إلا الله عدد أمواج البحور، لا إله إلا الله عدد أضعاف الأجور، لا إله إلا الله عدد قطر المطر، لا إله إلا الله عدد أوراق الشجر، لا إله إلا الله عدد الرمل والحجر، لا إله إلا الله عدد الزهر والثمر، لا إله إلا الله عدد الشعر والوبر، لا إله إلا الله عدد أنفاس البشر، لا إله إلا الله عدد ذنوبنا حتى تغفر، لا إله إلا الله عدد لمح العيون. لا إله إلا الله عدد ما كان وما يكون. لا إله إلا الله تعالى عما يشركون. لا إله إلا الله خير مما يجمعون. لا إله إلا الله في الليل إذا عسعس. لا إله إلا الله بالصبح إذا تنفس. لا إله إلا الله عدد الرياح في البراري والصخور. لا إله إلا الله من يومنا هذا إلى يوم النفخ في الصور. لا إله إلا الله عدد خلقه أجمعين. لا إله إلا الله من يومنا هذا إلى يوم الدين. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو حي لا يموت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. في كل لحظة أبدا عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد ما اتصلت العيون بالنظر وتزخرفت الأرضون بالمطر وتزخرفت الأرضون بالمطر وعج حاج واعتمر ولبى وحلق ونحر وطاف بالبيت العتيق وقبل الحجر وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم في كل لحظة أبدا عدد خلقك ورضا نفسك وزنة عرشك ومداد كلماتك.
من هذه الليالي ومن هذه الايام وجود الله ودفعه الفضل والانعام ترى كل خاص عن دام عن جميع اهل الاسلام الى حضره
اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى اله وصحبه. الفاتحه.
من اصحاب الحفظ.
Omar has begun the Rawha, and he's begun by asking them to recite the poem that is being memorized for this year's Rawha. So they will do that now. Other than إنما في التحقيق فقدان آمرا لخراب الدار مجتهدا إلهي هذه خراب العمر حريصا على الأموات تجمعها كمن أحسن زي الفؤاد عن الدنيا زينتها ذوها كدر والوصل هجران يفصل يقوت ومرجان الله سيلا بالجسم إنسان إنسان شيء فليكن كفي فروض جلته سفا وغفران وكن على الدهر موانا لذي أمان تداك فإن الحر موان عليك بحبل الله معتصما فإنه ركن إن خانتك أركان اتق الله يهمل في عواقبه أنا بغير الله في طالب فإن ناصره عجز وخذلان خير منا عن الذي
من جاد بالمال الناس
هذا الناس قاطبة والمال للإنسان فتى سلم الناس يسلم من شبه وقرير العين خذلان مليلك لصوت غدا وما على نفسه للحس سلطان
فلفرط
الجهل وهوان وعلى الحق يوما وهو جازان
سلاقى منهم عصبا لأن سوسه بغي وعدوان ومن يفتش عن الإخوان يقلهم فجل إخواني هذا العصر خوان من استشار صروف الدهر قام له على حقيقة طبع الدهر برهان من يزرع الشر يحصد في عواقبه ندامة ولحصد الزرع إبان من استنام إلى الأشرار نام وفي منهم صل وثعبان كن ريق البشر إن الحر همته صحيفة وعليها البشر عنوان.
Everyone prayed, may Allah bless what they have memorized. Praise be to Allah who creates the ability for uprightness and travel in emulation of the one who Allah made the master of all people of Imamate. The one who is crowned in honor by following him in this world and the next. May prayers and peace be upon him, his family, his companions, those who adopt his work at adopting his character, follow his adab, and upon his forefathers and brothers of prophets and messengers, the select of Allah from his humanity, from his creation, and his beloveds, his loved ones, and upon their families, their companions, those who follow them, the angels brought near, all of Allah's pious servants, and may these prayers be upon us with that group and among that group. Surely Allah is the most generous and most merciful. The Shaykh, the author of this poem, guided us, may Allah have mercy upon him, to the sunnah of displaying a pleasant face and happiness when you meet people, when you encounter people. The Prophet ﷺ, the fullest of moons, said, those who sit closest to me and the most beloved to me, the most beloved to me, those who sit close to me on the day of resurrection, are those who have the best character, those who are friendly and befriend others. And the worst people are those who carry tales and seek out the faults of those who are innocent. And he said in that regard, have a good countenance for a nobleman. His aspiration is merely something simple, and his sign is a pleasant countenance. Sometimes fools and those who are foolish, or those who so he said that sometimes one thinks that those who are foolish, they attain some worldly thing. He said, beyond that is harm. Don't be deluded by that. He said, you maintain the noble path and don't say this person attained this, he got that, he did this. Look at the outcome of that, the result of that, the end of that. And the outcome is only in favor of the people of God consciousness and those who have a good path. And he continues and he says, do not be deluded by some motive that someone attained. Do not be deluded by some worldly motive that you see anyone attain. Wealth, station, position, clothing. If he attains it in a wrong way, if he violates the Sharia to attain it, how much severity will befall that person, and how much wicked results will come to that person. And know that your adherence to your holding fast to good character and your traveling the straight path, that is more likely to bring triumph, happiness, and the great good. He said, always maintain kindness. Be the companion of kindness in every affair, in all affairs. So be a companion of kindness, of gentleness. Allah is Rafiq. Allah is good, kind, and He loves kindness in the whole affair. It comes in the Sahih Bukhari. Allah is Rafiq. Allah is kind. He loves kindness in all affairs, or the whole affair. Kindness is not in anything, or gentleness is not anything, except that it beautifies it, and harshness is not anything except it makes it ugly, brings difficulty. So maintain kindness, gentleness, and goodness, and diplomacy and clemency and fortitude and patience in all affairs, and then you will be triumphant with those who keep your company, those who you meet. Don't meet any Muslims with harshness, severity. Someone who is kind and gentle is never remorseful, because he did knock on the door of regret. And he is not blamed by people. Why? Because blame and regret comes to people of harshness and violence. People speak ill of them because he's always causing this problem or that because of their aggression and the coarseness of their disposition. And more important than all of that is that that's praiseworthy with Allah. Allah loves rifq, kindness, gentleness in the affair, all of it. Jalla Jalaluhu wa ta'ala fi ula. Allah said to Musa and Harun, go to Pharaoh. He has transgressed. Speak a gentle word to him. Allah said, speak a gentle word to him so that he will be reminded or fearful. Some of them spoke ill to one of the leaders, the emirs. And he said to him, said, you this, you that. He said, you be quiet. You be gentle. Allah sent someone better than you to someone more wicked than me. And Allah said to him, speak a gentle word. He said, you're not better than Musa and Harun, and I'm not better. I'm not worse than Pharaoh. So he gave him an admonition. The emir gave an admonition to this preacher. Speak to him gently, so that he said, so have in your heart the intention to guide him. Your obligation is to have an intention and wish and love that Allah guided everyone. He said, you can't guide yourself or others, but Allah guides those whom He wills. If He wishes, He makes you steadfast on guidance and spreads guidance at your hands to His servants. The Prophet said the deen is gentle, and no one tries to force the deen except that it will defeat him. So guide others. And it's known that the Prophet ﷺ's whole seerah, when he was able to be gentle, he was the most gentle of people. And the desert Arab who stood up and prayed and peed in the masjid, urinated in the masjid, the Prophet ﷺ lead him. And then when he finished urinating, the Prophet ﷺ asked that a bucket of water be poured over that and cleaned. He said, these places of prayer, no filth is appropriate here. This is for prayer, dhikr, supplication, and recitation of Quran. The man was taught. And were he to have left that man with the companions to stop him, he would have peed all over the masjid. He let him finish and then guided him and ordered them to purify it. By his gentleness and delicateness in this, he de-escalated the problems. He said, do not be deluded by some worldly motive that is brought by someone who transgressed. This transgression is destruction. He said this person, or actually he's violent and he attains something. He said, so this violence is destruction. It destroys good, destroys a good outcome, destroys honor. And a person's kindness is building, and there's a difference between building and demolition. And through this person's gentleness, they build, and through goodness. Abdul Malik bin Marwan, he was in a fight, and he ordered someone who fought against him to execute him. He said, "This wasn't a reward, a recompense for you." He said, "I didn't help those who rebelled against you, except so I could be close to you. I didn't keep the company of anyone except that he was defeated and killed." And he said, I went out with the rebels so they would be killed, and this was out of love for you. And he said, me being against you is better than 1,000 who are for you. So he spared this person. He spoke gently, and that saved him. He said, violence is demolition, and the gentleness from a person is building. There was a young man took off his clothes. No, excuse me. He was lowering his garment, dragging his lower garment. He wanted to censure him. One of those who are knowledgeable said, no, leave him alone. And he said, I have some need for you. He said, go ahead. Please raise this lower garment of yours. Don't drag it so low. He said, yes, and that's honorable. And he said, were he to have left to the people that wanted to violently censure him, he would have said no, and it's not honorable. And this is how the pious were, in their gentleness, and their establishing Allah's command, Jalla Jalaluhu wa Ta'ala, and their transmission, the command, the transmission of Mustafa Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So now the reader is reading from Ibn Ata'illah's aphorism. So the author said, whenever he gave you, he showed you his goodness. And when he withheld from you, he showed you his domination. In each of that, he's making himself known to you, or you could say introducing himself to you, turning to you with kindness from him. Mukbilun bi wujudi lutfihi alayka. So in commentary he said Allah's goodness and Allah's domination, both of those are his attributes. He said, without doubt, he said, if this is unveiled to them, this is equal in experience and state, due to seeing the singularity of the doer and the oneness of his attributes and the distinctness of his attributes and the congruency of his works. And if the person is veiled, however, through knowledge, he has some, and faith, he has reflection, then he will not be ignorant of this. And to see Allah's kindness in Allah's domination, just as he shows it to you in his goodness. However, this person doesn't taste it or have a spiritual state of understanding that. Rather, he has knowledge and faith in that that's the case. Whereas the person to whom it was unveiled had an experience of that. So this person will receive lutf, kindness from Allah, to the extent of his faith and the strength of his knowledge and its abundance. So these are people of rewards and good deeds. And those who are from whom the veil has been lifted, they witness in a state of unveiling and spiritual experience or taste. They're people of high degrees and stations that are firm. And what's sought from the servants and the wisdom in the creation is for them to know their master as he is in attributes. And there's no way to arrive at that except by the works that Allah shows that conform to what one would prefer in Allah's kindness, or alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. And he said, so there's no way to know Allah's attributes except by what manifests of attributes which conform to one's likes and are acts of divine kindness, or are painful in acts of divine subjugation. And divine attributes, or divine names are either names of beautiful beauty or names of divine rigor, or you could say majesty. And each of these names will manifest according to the dictates of its unique manifestation that differs from others. So a slave should seek the knowledge of his Lord in all of the names of the Lord, even if that opposes what his disposition, his humanness prefers, or differs from his nature, so that this servant belongs to Allah or is for Allah, not for himself. So Habib Omar's commenting said, when Allah gave to you, he showed you his kindness or his goodness. And when he withholds from you, he shows you his dominance. And in each of these states, he's introducing himself to you. And he is directing the various types of his kindness to you. He's directing the various types of kindness to you. La ilaha illahu. La ilaha illahu. So he is the one who shows generosity and grace, who's making himself known to you so that you could know his beauty and his perfection. And also so you could see some portion of knowing his majesty, so you could have a reality of knowledge of the Lord of perfection, and by that you would ascend elevated stations, and so your heart would be tranquil by that, and by that you would taste a beautiful celestial beverage. And were you not to know both of these affairs, you wouldn't have been true in knowledge of the Lord, of the creation, and you would have lived in illusion and imagination, distant from what the servants can know of Allah's greatness. All this is in the things that Allah allows the human being to know. Allah allows him to know realities by which he will know Allah, Allah's actions, Allah's attributes, Allah's essence. Allah gave humanity an ability that he didn't give other creatures. And he said that is only to the extent that he's prepared them. And no one encompasses him in knowledge. No one truly knows him. The master of those who knew him said, glory to you, I cannot encompass your praise as you have praised yourself. So he says in Allah's withholding, there's a meaning of beneficence. There's a meaning of grace and generosity and favor and honor and divine introduction and gentleness and kindness and bringing near and making beloved, that all of that's in withholding, in Allah's withholding from you. And he says, so if be comforted by Allah withholding and be the steward of its right, and may Allah give us to return to him. Even if the human disposition and nature dislikes that, even if it's heavy on the ego. However, if Allah opens a door of gnosis, knowing Allah, by his making himself known to you, there will be an appearance of that knowledge which will make it easy. And those perfected souls are perfected in the dhikr of Ya Qahar, O subduer, right? Ya Qahar, that indicates Allah's subjugation or dominance. They complete their souls by the dhikr Ya Qahar. Glory to Al Qahar Al Jabbar, the compeller, the subduer. And what's sought from every person of wisdom, from believers, is to know Allah with all of Allah's names and all of Allah's attributes. So this is a favor for the believer that Allah has given. And he said, so Allah's showing bir, kindness or gentle or goodness, and Allah's showing dominance. Both of them comfort him. He was comforted by gifts or Allah withholding. Allah doesn't give or withhold anything except there's wisdoms in what he gave and wisdoms in what he withheld. And that's for the one who sees the right of that and fulfills adab with Allah. That's the least, is that a believer see that and believe that he believe that, he have faith that this is the case. And if he does, then he'll ascend and taste that and be realized in that, not mere faith, but he'll see that in what Allah gives to him and how Allah is so gentle or kind to him. Jalla Jalaluhu wa ta'ala fi ula. And then Imam Haddad, in one of his correspondence, he mentioned the secret of Allah's interaction or Allah's relationship with him, with Allah's goodness and generosity. I cannot thank. So then he started thanking. He mentions from these meanings in his poem. May Allah be well pleased with him, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. This is Imam Haddad's poem. And the kind relation or transaction with Ar-Rahman towards the believers in general and with the elect of them in specific, so that the believer have good manners with Allah, the one who brings things forward to cause them to recede, the one who causes benefit and harm, the one who originates and returns, the one who does whatever he wills, the one who raises and lowers, the one in whose hand is the power over all things. Glory and glory to him, as exalted is he.
يا أملي ويا عضدي يا ملجئي يا ملاذ يا وزر كم لك من منتي ومن نعم علي تترى
Said, my Lord, how many favor do you have upon you and blessings upon me? If I had the life of this whole world, my life was as long as the whole world, from when you created the world until the end of the world, and I was to thank you through my whole life, this I wouldn't even thank you for 1/10 of these blessings. If I had the life as long as the whole world and I spent it in thanks to you, that wouldn't have equaled 1/10 of that. So I continue to admit my inability to thank to you. You initiated good to me. You created me and I was nothing. Allah says, has a time not come where the human being, when he was nothing? Nothing is less than nothing. And then you made me exist. And what is this existent? Ephemeral things didn't stop me except that they gave me knowledge. And knowledge and reflection protected me from any ephemeral thing steering me away from truly turning to you. And he said, curse did not come and cause trials for me. And he said, surely you're my servant. You have no power over them. By the secret of a group of people, may Allah not, oh Allah, do not deprive us of the goodness as you do the wickedness with us. And you see from the wonders of divine generosity that anytime He withholds or gives to you, you have a portion of Allah's vast generosity. So the author, he said, if you know that there's an outward gift in His generosity and an inward gift in His withholding, then you understand. We understand from the saying of the author, when He opens for you a door of no. There's a misprint there. Yep. So the next aphorism, the author says, you're only pained by withholding or by deprivation due to your not understanding from Allah in it, right? You're only pained by your deprivation, or you're only pained by deprivation due to your lack of understanding from Allah in that deprivation. And the Habib Omar is commenting, he said, you're only hurt by deprivation due to your not understanding from Allah in it. And he said, if you understand from Allah, when you have deprivation or difficulty, you will not panic, you will not object, and you will return well and in good returning and good ascension and attaining abundance and vast gifts. Allah, la ilaha illallah. What occurs to you if there is annoyance or objection in some of your states, that is due to ignorance. And he says, look for someone who will direct you to a beautiful state with Allah, so that He could show you how to fulfill the rights of Allah's generosity towards you in this deprivation, for example, so that you do not oppose the decree of Allah, the mighty, the protector, and so that you are not unaware of the secret of Allah's bringing things forward or causing them to recede, or His giving or withholding, His elevating or His lowering, and all of that is with Allah's wisdom. The wise seek Allah's gentleness and humble yourself without becoming panicked, without opposing, without being arrogant. The Prophet Muhammad said, if you're not angry with me, I don't mind, but wellness is easier for me. So we pray that Allah shows us grace and goodness in every affair and give us good manners in both deprivation and gifts, and open for us a door of understanding by your mercy, O most merciful of the merciful.
أجود بدمعي والدموع على الخد شهود على الأشواق والحزن والوجد أحس بقلبي حسرة وكآبة لما نالني من وحشة البعد والصد إذا رمت من نجد دنوا تزاحمت علي أمورا تقتضي البعد عن نجدي وعن جيرة الحي الذي حل حبهم فؤادي فألهاني عن القبل والبعد محبتهم ديني وفرضي وسنتي وعروتي الوثقى وأفضل ما عندي وفي قربهم أنسي وروحي وراحتي ولست بشيء إن بلوني بالبعد ومهما سرت لي نسمة من ربوعهم يخالطها عرف البشامات والرند وريح الخزامى والأراك تهيج بي شجونا تدعني لا أعيد ولا أبدي فما حيلتي والعمر ولا ولم أنل لقاهم وما للعمر إن فات من ردي وما استلذ العيش في البعد عنهم ولو كان ملك الأرض في قبضة اليد وإني لأرجو قربهم ووصالهم وإن طالت الأيام ما لم أرد لحدي فيا سعد سربي نحوهم وابلغنهم بأني على حفظ المودة والعهد ونبئهم عن لوعتي وصبابتي وكتمي لأسرار الهوى غاية الجهد وأني مقيم في مواطن غربة على كثرة الألاف في جانب وحدي قريب بعيد كائن غير كائن وحيد فريد في طريقي وفي قصدي أمور وأحوال تعن ولم أجد عليها معينا وهي تقعد بالفرد فكل شفيعا عندهم بعد علهم يمن بجمع الشمل فضلا على العبد فيا ليت شعري هل أزور خيامهم سحيرا على حال المسرة والود وهل تجمع الأيام بيني وبينهم وهل بعد هذا البعد يا سعد ما يجدي أرجي ولي ظن جميل بخالقي تعالى عظيم الشان مستوجب الحمد إله البرايا كلها ومليكها تنزه عن شبه ومثل وعن ند. إله البرايا كلها ومليكها تنزه عن شبه ومثل وعن ند. والحمد لله رب العالمين.
اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد. فيها منادي الخير بشار، قال الفتى الحبشي ليالي
جنة القرب فيها ذل الروح بالعشية.